Hey, what service do you have today? And you're like, I have Bright House. Are you happy with your services? Yeah. Would you like better services, cheaper services? And you're like, ain't no way you could give me cheaper or better than what I have now. What about your satellites? Your satellites mess up during storms. So all these questions and things that you put before them, these are the same questions that the lady put before Jesus. And so I'm going to start at verse 19. Already Jesus was already starting a dialogue with her, and keeping with the theme of come let us reason together, this is the dialogue that they've come to. Jesus is talking to her, letting her know, hey, give me a drink of water. And this lady is like, well, why should I give you it? Why should I even give you a drink of water? You're a Jew, I'm a Samaritan, we have no ties to one another. Why are you even speaking to me? And it gets down to where Jesus tells her to go get your husband. And she says, I don't have a husband. And he says, right, you've been married to 3 or 5 other, I think it was 5 other husbands. And the one that you're with now is not your husband.
Amen.
So that was a close encounter for her to see, to witness the power of God and what he's doing in her life. And so then the woman says, at verse 19, the woman said to him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and you Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship. So we see right here in verse 19, she's believing, she's getting over that threshold of believing that he is somebody that's not normal, but at the same time, she still needs some clarity on how can you work in my life? How can you be that place in my life? And that's how we feel. God, how can you come into our life and do something for us? How can you provide what I need and I don't even see you? Other people tell me I should come to church this way. Other people say that I should do things this way to you, but I'm not sure how me and you could even be together. And this is what Jesus is telling the lady. Jesus said to her, Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him, worship in spirit and in truth. And so God is saying, come, let us reason together. We can't come and reason with a judge and come before a judge in some shorts and some short sleeve shirt on. We got to come in front of that judge respectively. We can't come in front of the judge and just have some lawyer that don't know nothing about the case come in and try to represent us. We got to come in there respectfully before this judge. So when God tells us to come and reason with him, he's asking for a close encounter. When you go to court and you're standing before the judge, that's a close encounter that you're having with the judge that can say, hey, you go to jail, or hey, you can remain free. That's a close encounter with fate or destiny, however you want to put it. Yeah. And so this is the close encounter that the woman is having with Jesus, is about her destiny. Then the woman said to him, I know that Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things. Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am he. Now, after this, his disciples come back and they're telling him to eat. And I'm gonna read some notes that I wrote down.
All right.
But they're telling him, hey, you need to eat. And he was like, my food is not this food. My food is to do the will of my Father.
All right.
Now, for those of us who've already had a close encounter with God, what are we supposed to be doing? Our close encounter is the impact that Christ has had in our life. We're supposed to be going and yelling from the rooftops. Yeah. And I consider myself as, not a victim, but somebody who does the crime, a perpetrator, if you will. I consider myself a perpetrator. I haven't done God right. I don't go yelling from the rooftop. Sometimes I'll get the feeling to go and tell people about God, about the God that I serve and what he's done in my life. But then a lot of times I get lazy in my life. And we as people, we do that. We forget about our close encounter that we've had with God. We forget about what God has done in our life, and we won't go share it with nobody. So this is a part of the case of come and let us reason together. We got to give an account to why we're not doing what we're supposed to. Those of us who've had the close encounter, and those of us who are still skeptical and sliding on it, the judge is trying to find out, well, why haven't you went and done your hours yet? You know you've had these community service hours to do. Why haven't you went and done them?
Wow.
Okay, reading from my notes. In this story, the woman was skeptical of Jesus and questioned him, and then ultimately, being frank of somewhat why she was skeptical, she